I never thought I would be the kind of man to sit down and write about the implosion of my marriage. But sometimes telling the story is the only way to make sense of it. What happened to me was both devastating and, in its own twisted way, liberating. It's a story of suspicion, betrayal, heartbreak, and eventually renewal. Looking back now, I can see each step as though it were a chapter in a book I never wanted to read. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and keep watching, because the best part's coming up next. My wife and I had been married for 11 years. We had 2 beautiful children, a comfortable home, and the kind of life most people would look at from the outside and call happy. But small cracks had been forming, ones I didn't want to acknowledge at the time. She started coming home late from work more often. The explanations were always reasonable. Traffic, long meetings, catching up with a friend. But something in her tone, something in the way her eyes darted when she spoke, told me there was more to the story. The moment everything shifted was small, almost laughably so. She left her phone on the counter one evening while she showered, and a message lit up the screen. It was brief, nothing overtly incriminating, but the kind of affectionate familiarity that doesn't belong in a marriage. My gut clenched. I picked up the phone, and what I found shattered me. Messages, pictures, plans to meet, not one slip-up, not one mistake, but a relationship, a parallel life. My wife, the woman I had trusted with everything, had been sleeping with a coworker for nearly 2 years. 2 years. I cannot describe the feeling of realizing your marriage has been a lie for that long. Betrayal isn't just pain. It's disorientation. You start questioning every memory, every kiss, every I love you. Was she lying then too? Was I ever enough? My heart pounded in my ears as I pieced together the timeline. She had been smiling at me across the dinner table while planning secret meetings with another man. She had been tucking our children into bed and then sneaking out to spend the night with him. I confronted her calmly at first, though inside I was anything but calm. She denied it, of course. Cheaters always deny until you shove the evidence in their face. When I showed her the screenshots, her whole body slumped, like the weight of the secret finally crushed her. She begged me to understand, said she had been unhappy, said it was just a distraction. But how could I understand? How could anyone excuse 2 years of deceit? For days we lived in a tense, suffocating silence. She tried to apologize, to promise change, but her words felt hollow. What finally broke the stalemate was when I decided to act. I hired a lawyer. I contacted the sheriff's office. If my marriage was going to collapse, it would collapse on my terms. And so, one night when I knew she was at a hotel with him, I walked in with a sheriff and served her divorce papers in the very place she had chosen to betray me. She went pale, eyes wide with shock. I didn't yell, I didn't curse, I simply handed her the papers and walked away. That was the moment I reclaimed my dignity. Of course, the aftermath was hell. Divorce is never easy, especially when children are involved. She begged for another chance, insisted she would change, swore that she finally understood what she stood to lose, and for a while I almost believed her. We tried therapy. We sat in rooms with strangers and dissected our marriage like it was a broken car engine. But the thing about trust is once it's destroyed, you can't rebuild it with words. Every time she said she was working late, my stomach twisted. Every time she touched me, I wondered if she had touched him the same way hours earlier. Therapy gave us tools, but it couldn't give us respect. And without respect, there is no marriage. What made the situation even more surreal was that I wasn't the only one betrayed. Her affair partner was also married, and his wife, the other betrayed spouse, found out around the same time I did. In our shared pain, we reached out to each other. At first, it was just messages of support, late-night calls to keep from drowning in the loneliness. We cried together, raged together, shared stories of lies and gaslighting that mirrored each other almost exactly. It was strange comfort, like talking to someone who spoke the same language of heartbreak. Like what you see? Click like, hit subscribe, and stay tuned. Let's keep going. Over time, that connection deepened. What started as two wounded people clinging to each other turned into something more. I won't pretend it was simple. At first, I worried we were just rebound comforts filling the holes our spouses had left. But as months passed, the bond solidified. Where my wife had lied, she was honest. Where my wife had been selfish, she was generous. With her, I felt seen in a way I hadn't in years. Eventually, we admitted what was already clear. We had fallen in love. Meanwhile, my ex-wife spiraled. She couldn't accept that I was serious about divorce. She alternated between begging and lashing out, painting herself as the victim of a cold husband who gave up too easily. It was maddening. She had spent 2 years giving herself to another man. And yet she expected me to play the forgiving saint. I realized then that her pleas weren't about love. They were about control. She didn't want me back because she cherished me. She wanted me back because losing me meant facing the consequences of her choices. The day our divorce was finalized, I felt both grief and relief. Grief for the family we had been, for the dreams we once shared. Relief because the limbo was over and I could finally stop twisting myself in knots trying to make the impossible work. My kids were my anchor through it all. I made sure they knew none of this was their fault, that both parents loved them, even if we couldn't love each other anymore. It wasn't easy, but slowly life found a new rhythm. Looking back, the hardest lesson was accepting that the woman I loved no longer existed, or maybe she never had. The version of her who cheated for 2 years wasn't someone I could respect, and respect is the foundation of love. Even if she became a perfect wife afterward, it didn't matter. That version of her wasn't for me. I deserved a partner who valued me without needing to lose me first. My relationship with the other betrayed spouse grew into something strong, something real. We understood each other's scars, and instead of running from them, we honored them. It wasn't about revenge against our exes. It was about building something healthier from the ruins. For the first time in years, I felt peace. So what do I take from all this? That betrayal doesn't have to define you. It hurts like nothing else, yes. It makes you question your worth, your sanity, your memories. But if you hold on to your dignity, if you refuse to settle for half love, you can come out stronger. I am not the same man I was before I found those messages on her phone. I am tougher, more cautious, but also more certain of what I deserve. If I could go back, would I erase those 2 years of deceit? Honestly, no. They were hell, but they also freed me from a marriage that was built on illusions. They gave me clarity. They taught me to value respect over comfort, truth over appearances. Most importantly, they gave me the chance to build a life with someone who actually treasures me. In the end, my ex-wife lost not because I wanted revenge, but because she destroyed the very foundation of what we had. She traded 2 years of excitement for a lifetime of regret. I walked away with my self-respect, my children, and eventually a love I could trust. Betrayal tried to break me. Instead, it rebuilt me. When I look back now, I don't see myself as a victim. I see myself as someone who survived and chose growth over bitterness. Betrayal is devastating, but it can also be a turning point. It forces you to decide whether you'll let the pain define you or whether you'll rise and redefine yourself. For me, it wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the beginning of a deeper understanding of who I am, what I stand for, and what kind of love I will accept in my life moving forward. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share your own thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you've turned pain into strength.